Jai Hind dosto. This is Ananya, your master teacher at Vedantu for Social Science. How are you all? I hope you guys are taking very good care of yourself. So, guys, I'm really very excited to continue with the story of Indian national movement. But before that, I want to tell something to you guys. I'm really very disappointed from everyone. Why? Yes, because I see very less students gives the answer in the comment section. I always give you homework questions. And I always tell you guys, if you have any queries, do let me know in the comment section. If you like, if I give you some homework questions, make sure that you guys are giving me the answer in the comment section. But very less students gives the answer in the comment section. Beta, I want everyone to attempt those homework questions, and those are very, very simple questions. Okay? And I want you guys to watch my video till the end so that you understand each and everything in detail. All right? Chalo, let's get started, guys, with Indian national movement. If you guys are aware from the last two videos, I told you guys various reasons behind the war of 1857. I told you guys about the political causes, the socio-religious causes, economic causes, military causes. Guys, there were many reasons why the war of 1857 started. But today, in this video, I'm going to tell you guys that immediate reason. That reason, I will not say that was the main reason, but yeah, that was the immediate cause behind which the War of 1857 started. Are you guys understanding? So today I'm going to tell you that immediate cause due to which the War of 1857 started. All right, chalo, let's get started. Before that, let me appreciate those students who gave the answer in the comment section. Okay, the question was very simple. Widow Remarriage Act was introduced in which year? That was in year 1856. The next question was Inam Commission gave its report in which year? That was in year 1852. All right. And guys, I really appreciate these students. Abdur, Siddhi, Nidhi, Veera, Nayan. That's amazing. So Nayan says, my name is Jivisha Prasad. Hi Jivisha. Kya baat hai? That's amazing. So guys, I really appreciate all the students who at least try to give the answer in the comment section. All right. So guys, from next time onwards, I want everyone to give the answer in the comment section. All right. I'm going to ask you some homework questions in this session also. Once this session will be completed. All right. Chalo. Now guys, today I'm going to tell you guys about the immediate cause, and after that immediate cause, how the war started, how this war started, how it started spreading in different parts of India. Everything we are going to cover in this video. Okay. And what was the consequences? What was its results? Okay. If you guys are already aware, in my previous videos, I have already explained you the socio-religious causes, the economic causes, the political causes, and the military causes for the rise of War of 1857. For the War of 1857. So, guys, what was the immediate cause? The Enfield rifle. Now, what was Enfield rifle? Let's understand this. Guys, till 1856, Britishers were using brown bees. That was a type of musket which was used before till 1956. That was a type of rifle. Now in 1956, they introduced a new set of rifle, and this new rifle was Enfield rifle. Now you will have a question in your mind, sir, due to this Enfield rifle, it gave rise to the War of 1857. Yes. Why? Yes, the loading process of this rifle was something different. What was the loading process? Let's understand. If you know what is cartridge, guys, cartridge means in Hindi we call it as goli. Like it is a kind of capsule which includes gunpowder. Now, the loading process of this Enfield rifle was like sepoys who were using this rifle, they were supposed to bite open this cartridge before loading it into the rifle. Now, understand the cartridge which was made, it was covered by greased paper, and that greased paper was made up of the fat of cow and pig. Yes, you have heard it right. And in Britishers army, Indian British army, there were more of Hindus and Muslims. Now guys understand, if that cartridge or that paper, if greased paper, it is made up of fat of cow and pig. Cow is supposed to be sacred for Hindus, which is related to God. And if we talk about pig, It is associated with, like, Muslims consider it as taboo. So guys, purposely Britishers introduced such type of cartridge. So which was covered by a grease paper which was made up of fat of cows and pig. So sepoys were supposed to bite open that cartridge before loading it into the rifle. This was hurting the religious sentiments of Hindus and Muslims. Definitely, guys, it will hurt the religious sentiments of Hindus and Muslims. And purposely Britishers did this. So guys, what sepoys did? The Indian sepoys, they refused to use that cartridge, and they decided now this is enough. Now, guys, they had a tolerance level that was like completed, and finally decided we have to do an uprising against Britishers, which gave rise to the War of 1857. But exactly, guys, what was the main cause? This is how people were enraged. The Indian sepoys were enraged and they were ready to wage a war against Britishers. But what happened? As you can see, what led to the mutiny. So this is how it was supposed to. Sepoys were supposed to bite open the cartridge before loading it into the rifle. And if you look at this part, just hold on. Yeah, it was covered by fats of cow and pig. So this was hurting the religious sentiments of Hindus. I hope you guys are understanding. Yes, so purposely they did that. Guys, you know what happened? Basically, Mangal Pandey revolted against the British officer, and for this incident, Mangal Pandey was hanged. Now, guys, once Mangal Pandey was hanged, the news spread like a wildfire. It started spreading like a wildfire in all over India. And as soon as people came to know that Mangal Pandey was hanged for such incidents of attacking a British officer, guys, people became so enraged. There were various reasons, guys, behind the War of 1857. But this was the main reason why the War of 1857 started. You will not believe, guys, the news of the hanging of Mangal Pandey started spreading like a wildfire. And everywhere in India, people revolted against Britishers. Yes. So guys, you can see I've uploaded a map. You can see over here. These were the important centers of the revolt of 1857. I'm not saying you that these were the only areas, but yeah, these were the main centers of the war of 1857. You can see somewhere in Maharashtra, then Delhi, Meerut, Bareilly, Lucknow, Gwalior, Jhansi, Kanpur, Allahabad, everywhere, guys. Patna, Barapur, that is in Kolkata, from where it started and started spreading in different parts of India. Mostly, guys, this war of 1857 was concentrated in north of India. But I will not say the people of other parts of India did not participated in this revolt, guys. Each and every Indian in different parts of India, they participated in the revolt of 1857. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you the chronology of these entire events in short. Okay. So, how the event started, it was followed by which areas, all these things we are going to understand it over here. Okay. सबसे पहले guys, in Feb 20, on Feb 26, 1857, unrest among the soldiers at Berhampur, which is in Bengal. Obviously, guys, there was a kind of unrest situation. The peace was disturbed. Okay, so this unrest situation among the soldiers of Berhampur, that is in Bengal, started on Feb 26, 1857. It was followed by immediately on March 29, 1857, resentment by the Mangal Pandey at Barakpur. So Mangal Pandey resented such kind of cartridge, the use of cartridge. Guys, what is the meaning of resentment towards something? Showing disapproval against something. We do not agree with this. Okay, going against a particular situation, that is known as resentment. And Mangal Pandey resented against this cartridges, use of cartridge. On May 9, 1857, resentment by 85 sepoys of the 3rd Cavalry at Meerut. So guys, 3rd Cavalry was a regiment. It was a regiment of army at Meerut. Nearly 85 sepoys resented against this use of cartridge. May 10th, 1857, the sepoys at Meerut broke out openly against the British and headed towards Delhi. So are you understanding, guys, how it started from Feb 26, 1857, and this news started spreading in different parts of India. On between 11th May and 30th May 1857, outbreaks happened in Delhi, Firozpur, Bombay, Bareilly, Aligarh, and different parts of India. Guys, due to all these wars which were waged by Indians against the Britishers, what Indians did, they made Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah as the Emperor of India. So guys, they made Indians made Bahadur Shah as the Emperor of India. As a Mughal, he was a Mughal Emperor, and they proclaimed as the Emperor of India. Okay, this event was followed by June 1857. Now, it was followed in Gwalior, Bharatpur, Jhansi, Allahabad, Faizabad. If you guys remember, guys, look at this map. So it started somewhere from West Bengal and it started spreading in different parts of India. Gwalior, Jhansi, Allahabad, Meerut, Satara, Bombay, everywhere in India, guys. Then, in August 1857, uprising at Indore, then Jhelum, Salkot, etc., different places. Then on September 1857, recapturing of Delhi by the English. So English was recaptured. So basically, the people who were revolting against the Britishers, now this uprising of the people was suppressed by the Britishers, and Delhi was captured by the Britishers in September 1857. Afterwards, in November 1857, defeat of British at Kanpur. The Indians living in Kanpur, they defeated Britishers over there. But the very next month, December 1857, victory of the British at Kanpur. So once in November 1857, when Indians defeated Britishers at Kanpur, the very next month, that is in December 1857, Britishers defeated Indians in Kanpur, and which led to the escape of Tanitya Tope. Guys, who was Tanitya Tope? He was also known as Tatya Tope. He was from Maharashtra. Okay, he was also known as Tatya Tope. He was a general in this rebellion of 1857. Tatya Tope escaped from there, and in March 1858, Britishers recaptured Lucknow once again. So, guys, if you look at these events, how it started, Feb 26, 1857, some soldiers in Bengal, they revolted against the Britishers, okay, for the use of this cartridge, which was made up of the outer part of this cartridge was made up of the fat of cows and pig. Then it was followed by other parts of India. Then it went to different parts of India, like it started spreading in north of India. Then it went towards the south of India as well. One by one, the areas were recaptured by Britishers. Obviously, guys, because they were much more stronger. There were many reasons, guys, why Indians lost the war of 1857. Guys, how can we say that Indians lost the war of 1857? Because in 1857, we did not got independence. Obviously, we got independence in year 1947. So we can say that this war of 1857 was a failure. But it was not a complete failure. I will tell you the reason at the end of the session. It was not a complete failure. We were successful in some, up to a certain extent. We were successful. Obviously, guys, we didn't succeeded in getting India independent, but yes, up to a certain extent, we were successful. Okay, how we will understand in this story. Okay, yes, after this. So after March 1858, when Britishers captured Lucknow, it was followed by April 1858, victory of Britishers at Jhansi. Okay, so over there, uprising in Bihar was done by Kunwar Singh. Guys, Kunwar Singh was an active participant from Bihar, and in Bihar, the uprising against the Britishers was done by Kunwar Singh. On June 17, 1858, guys, Rani ki Jhansi, Rani or Jhansi, tried her level best to fight against Britishers. But finally, guys, she was martyred. She sacrificed her life for the nation. She died fighting against Britishers on 17th of May 1858. And that is the death of Rani of Jhansi. Guys, between July and December 1858, almost major part of India was again recaptured by Britishers. And guys, in April 1859, Tatya Tope from Maharashtra, if you guys remember, he was captured by the Britishers and he was hanged. So, guys, if we look at the incidents all these incidents which started from Feb 26th, 1857. The uprising went up to 1859. Well, this is very, very important sequence. Make sure that you take out your notebook, write down all these sequence, okay? Because this will help you to revise the topic before the exam. You will understand the chronology of the events because history is all about stories, my dear students. All right, great. Guys, if you're liking this video, make sure that you do not forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to our channel if you have not done yet. All right, chalo, great. Now, guys, before we move ahead, I want you guys to listen to me very, very carefully. This is about our pro subscription plan. Guys, now what is pro subscription? Guys, if I ask you, are you guys able to understand everything? You guys will be like, yes, sir, we are able to understand everything. And not only social science, but the other subjects also which you watch on YouTube. But still, I would ask you, I would tell you to join Vedantu, to enroll to Vedantu. Now you will be like, sir, if we are able to understand everything, why we will join Vedantu? So let me tell you the reasons, guys, why you should join Vedantu. First of all, my dear students, here Vedantu is giving you a promise. And the promise which we are giving you, let me tell you guys, no offline institute or no online institute except Vedantu will give you this promise. What is that promise? Before I tell you about that promise, I want you guys to listen to the features or the benefits of Vedantu. First of all, when you guys enroll to Vedantu, here you guys will be getting unlimited access to live classes. Yes, again, I'm telling you unlimited live classes. I'm not talking about recorded classes. You can attend unlimited live classes with all the high level quizzes. Secondly, when you attempt these live classes and when you attempt these quizzes, when you participate in these quizzes, you find your name on leaderboard, right? Guys, look at the competition you have. Students in Vedantu are not only from India, guys, they are from different countries also. So your competition is increasing. Not only this, if you miss out the session due to any reason, you can watch the replays. And those replays, guys, are going to be interactive replays. Now, what is the meaning of interactive replays? Let's take an example. If you miss out the session, you will watch the replay. You can participate in the quizzes. You can find your name on leaderboard. So it is like a live session. Not only this, you can also download the handwritten content of your master teacher. So the problem of notes is also solved. Not only this, in class doubt solving. Are you guys able to ask me doubts over here or to any other teacher? No, it is very difficult. But over there, all your doubts are solved during the session. 100% doubts are solved. Continuously tests are taken. Assignments are given to you. Not only this, you have an access to all the micro courses and crash courses which are going to be absolutely free for you. Exactly. So the students who actually pay for these micro courses and crash courses, it is going to be free for you. So guys, how to enroll to these sessions? It is very simple. There is a link which is there in the description box and it is also pinned in the comment section. The very first comment you will find a link. Just click on that link. You will be redirected to a website. Alright, go over there, check out our plans and if you want additional 10% discount, then you can apply my coupon code as AD Pro. If you want discount, if you do not want discount, then no need to apply this code as AD Pro. Okay, guys, these are our plans: Pro Lite, Pro Classic, and Pro Plus. Obviously, there is a difference between all these plans. Whatever benefits I said you now, all those benefits are available in Pro Lite subscription. Now, one amazing thing, all these plans are available in 1 month also. Yes, so you can try it for 1 month also. Try it for 1 month and you get an experience. If you liked it, later on you can extend your subscription to 1 year. And let me guarantee you guys, you will definitely like it. And guys, one amazing part is like in every 1 month subscription, you can apply my coupon code and the price will come down. As you can see over here, like for Pro Lite subscription, it is of 3,100. If you apply my coupon code as AD Pro, it will come down to 2,790. Yes. What do you have in Pro Classic subscription? You will get a doubts app. So after the session also, you can cater with all your questions. If you have any questions after the session or before the sessions, you can ask questions. That is, you will be getting doubts up. So guys, in every plan you have got some or the other benefit. Make sure that you guys at least try it for a month. All right. Now, guys, I always tell the students the fees you are giving to Vedantu actually comes down to zero. You will be like, sir, how it is zero? We are paying, we are paid so much of fees. How it is coming down to zero? It is very simple, guys. Because when you have an access to unlimited micro courses, guys, I'm not talking about limited. You have an access to unlimited micro courses. So if you divide your fees with unlimited numbers of lectures, it will come down to zero. Yes, and that is what we are providing you. All right. So guys, what promise we are giving you? As I told you, this is something you will never get other than Vedantu. What is that promise? If you feel that there has been no progress, we will return your fees back. You have heard it right. No progress, get your course fees back. And guys, understand this part. If the progress is not as per your expectations, if the improvement is not as per your expectations, then the fees will be given back to you. And that is a promise we are giving you. Guys, we just need a very simple commitment from your end. You have to attend minimum 75% of the classes, 75% of the attendance is mandatory, and out of all the assignments which will be assigned to you, 75% should be completed. If you guys give us such commitment, then we are promising you. In case the performance improvement is not as per your expectations, like you expected a 5% rise, 10% rise, 15% rise, if the performance improvement is not as per your expectations, we will return your fees back. No questions asked. This is the promise we are giving you. That is why, guys, I'm telling you at least try it for a month. Okay, take the experience. The batches are already started, guys. Okay, so make sure that you come over there, join our batches. All right. Chalo. Let's move ahead, guys, with our topic. Now, after understanding the sequence of the events which started from 1856, do you remember that cartridge, okay, which was covered by greased paper and it was made up of the fat of cow and pig? Now, it was hurting the religious sentiments of Hindus and Muslims. So, what we did? We revolted. We started an uprising against the Britishers. Uprising basically started after Mangal Pandey was hanged. For which incident? Because Mangal Pandey attacked the British officers, for that he was hanged. And this news of hanging of Mangal Pandey started spreading like a wildfire. And we saw all the events. What was the consequences? Let's understand. As I told you, there was some positive result also. There was some positive outcome also of this event. Let's understand. First of all, the biggest change which took place after this event was the end of East India Company rule. My dear students, if you remember, from 1757 till 1857, India was ruled by East India Company on behalf of Britishers. Now the East India Company rule was ended in India. Do you know why? Because now Britishers believed that if we continue the administration of India through East India Company, the people of India the Indians can at any point of time, again they can do an uprising, and next time it will be impossible to suppress the revolt of Indians. So it is better to end the rule of 1857. So in simple sense, Britishers were threatened from Indians. That was a positive outcome. Guys, we didn't got independence in 1857, but this was a positive outcome out of it. Britishers अब हमसे डर गए थे. Exactly. First of all, guys, let me read each and everything. Transfer of power to the crown through Government of India Act of 1858. So through the Government of India Act of 1858, there was a transfer of power from East India Company to British government. Company's board of control and court of directors were abolished. So East India Company had some board of control and court of directors. Under them, India was administered. those people were abolished. That position was abolished, was ended. This is something you have to remember. You will not find in your textbook. Lord Stanley was the first Secretary of State. My dear students, make a note of this. Who was the first Secretary of the State? Lord Stanley. Secretary of State for India, he got the entire power to administer the country. The title, so the power which was there with Board of Control and Court of Directory, those power were transferred to Lord Stanley as the first Secretary of the State of India. Title of Governor General was changed to Viceroy of India. So there was a title, there was a position which was known as Governor General. Guys, basically who was Governor General? In simple language, if I tell you, Britishers had appointed an officer in India who was there, who was responsible to administer India. So that position was known as Viceroy. Before that, during the rule of company, during East India Company rule, the same position was known as Governor General. Now, this position was renamed to Viceroy. And the first Viceroy of India was Lord Canning. He was Lord Canning, guys. He was the first Viceroy of India. And let me tell you the last Viceroy of India. The last Viceroy of India was Mountbatten. We will know more about Mountbatten later in the story when India will get independence. All right. So a long way to go. So guys, first Viceroy was Lord Canning. Appointment to civil services was open through competition. Now, guys, appointment into civil services like IAS, IFS, in all these civil services, it was open through competition. Means Indians and Europeans without any discrimination. They can be a part of the competition, and whoever is eligible, who deserves, will get into civil services. So the very first positive impact we can say after the War of 1857 was the end of company rule in India. Guys, I hope you are able to understand. Okay, he was Lord Canning, the first Viceroy of India. Next, Queen Victoria. Guys, she was a Queen of England. Now she came into India and she declared something. Now, guys, proclamation means to declare something, to say something. Now, guys, she declared something. What she proclaimed through Lord Canning. Let's understand. She declared something on 1st of November 1858 and was publicly declared by her. Now, what was the declaration done by Queen Victoria? Let's see. First, non-intervention in socio-religious matters of Indians. We will not interfere in the matters of Indians related to religion and related to society. Do you guys remember abolition of sati, giving green signal to remarriages, widow remarriages? Do you guys remember? So they were trying to involve in our socio-religious customs, okay, which we never liked. What she proclaimed, from now onwards, we will not interfere in your socio-religious matters. Good. Guys, this was declared. Is it applied? Was it applied? We are not aware. Let's understand what she declared, what was promised by her, and what was the actual facts. Equality among Indians and Europeans. So she declared that there will be equality among Indians and Europeans. No discrimination. General pardon for all who took part in war except those who murdered Britishers. So we will pardon those people who were a part of the war, but we will not excuse, हम उन्हें माफ नहीं करेंगे those who murdered the British officers like Mangal Pandey. Industries will be advanced. Okay, the growth of industries will take place, uh, which will give rise to the economic improvement in the economical condition of India. Material and moral progress of people. Guys, what is material and moral progress of people? Like, let's take an example. If there is male female equality, that is moral progress of a person. Are you guys understanding? So these were the promises which were declared by Queen Victoria on November 1st, 1858 by Lord Canning. Next, guys, there was an end of Mughals and Peshwas. Okay, this was second. The first one was end of company rule. Second, promise in proclamation. End of Mughals and Peshwa. Guys, death of Bahadur Shah II ended the Mughal rules. Nana Sahib fled to Nepal, ended the Peshwa rules. Simple as that. And the areas under Mughals and Peshwa, definitely they came under the dominance of Britishers eventually. Relation with the princely states. Fourth one. First of all, guys, policy of annexation. What is the meaning of annexing something? Take forcefully or forcibly. Okay. Policy of annexation and doctrine of lapse. Do you remember doctrine of lapse? These were abandoned. What is the meaning of doctrine of lapse? Any Indian ruler, if he do not have any male heir, okay, as a successor, if there is no male heir as a successor, then the land would be confiscated. It will be taken by the Britishers. If there is no male heir of a king or of a ruler in India, okay, so that land will be taken from that particular area and it will be under the dominance of Britishers. So, policy of annexation, doctrine of lapse was abandoned. In 1856, Queen Victoria took the title of Empress of India. So she became the Empress of India. Rulers of state voluntarily accepted the rule of crown as they were promised continuity of their rule. And we didn't have any other choice. We accepted the rule of Britishers. Yeah, this is Delhi Darbar in 1877. Next, the policy of divide and rule. So this will come fifth one, policy of divide and rule. Guys, you are already aware that from initially they had a policy of dividing the Indians and then ruling separately. Because when there is unity, it becomes difficult to rule more people at the same time. When the people are divided on the basis of when the people are divided, in that particular case, it becomes simple for someone to rule. So this was a policy which was established by the Britishers, which was applied by the Britishers, policy of divide and rule. So what they did, princes and people went against each other. So they created such a situation that princes and people went against each other, provinces versus provinces, caste versus caste, and the most important, Hindu versus Muslims. Why they wanted to divide this category, because when there is a division, when there is no unity, it will be simple for the Britishers to administer all these people. Next, racial discrimination. Yes, you are already aware that they racially discriminated Indians. They used to consider themselves as superiors and Indians as inferior. They used to consider that Indians are black. So, guys, what is something of racial discrimination? Like differentiating someone on the basis of skin color or on the basis of ethnic group. That is known as racial discrimination. That is what they did. In fact, do you know what they did? In few of the places, they have clearly written reserved only for Europeans. So, guys, understand this is racial discrimination. That was the next impact. Next, foreign policy. Sorry. Yeah. Next one, foreign policy. Guys, let's see what was the aim of Britishers. Protection of its Indian Empire. That was the main aim of the Indian Empire. Okay, guys, what is the meaning of foreign policy? The rules and regulations related to the foreign affairs. Okay, when a particular country deals with the other country, that is through foreign policies. Okay, every independent country has its own foreign policies, independent of foreign policy. So they made the foreign policy. What was its aim? Protection of its Indian Empire. Very first aim. Expansion of the Britishers in India economically and commercially. So they wanted to expand their empire in India, and not only India, they can expand their empire economically and commercially up till Asia and Africa. Next, all this cost of implementation was borne by Indians. It was taken by Indians. How? Like for example, Indian soldiers shed their blood in war against Nepal and Burma. Britishers were fighting against Nepal and Burma, and in that fight, Indians were sent to fight against Nepal and Burma. So Indians were shedding their blood. On the other hand, taxes, heavy taxes were taken from India. So this was a huge discrimination you can see with their foreign policies. Increased racial bitterness. As I told you, guys, they had a hatred feeling towards Indians. They used to believe that whites are superior and blacks are inferior. Okay, they started tagging Indians as they are not worth of trust. They are not worth of being trust. They are untrustworthy. They insulted Indians. They humiliated Indians. And they started believing that we are superior. We, in the sense, Britishers are superior and Indians are inferior due to their race, due to their color, and due to their ethnic groups. Then, guys, what was the religious changes they did? British rulers declared emphatically, guys, emphatically means forcefully doing something. British rulers declared forcefully their policies of non-interference in the religious affair, customs and tradition of Indians. As I already told you, the Queen Victoria, when she declared that they will not interfere in our religious matters, but this was not the case. Still, they were interfering in the matters of our religion and customs. Yes. Changes in the army, guys. Now, this was the biggest change done by the Britishers. Guys, ratio of Europeans to Indian troops means if you look at this 1 and 2, 1 means European as compared to 2 Indian. In Madras and Bengal province, 2 European and 5 Indians. Why? Guys, they made a general principle. What principle they made? What they decided? Indian sepoys should not exceed twice that of the European troops. So if there are 2 Indians, there should be at least 1 European. Are you guys understanding? It should not be double than the Europeans or the European soldiers. Why? It should not be more than the Britishers. There was a reason because now they were of the view that Indians have already done an uprising. Now again, Britishers did not wanted Indians to have an uprising against them. So what they did, they maintained the number of army, the number of soldiers in British India Army. So it was like 1 European in front of 2 Indian soldiers. So as I told you, what was the changes in the army? Let's see. Europeans were kept in the key geographical and military positions. All the important positions. In all the important positions, Europeans were there. Except a few mountain units, all artillery units were disbanded. Now, what do we understand from this? All modern weapons, arms, and ammunitions were not given to Indians, except to only those Indian soldiers which are placed into few important mountain units, mountain ranges. Except those areas wherever Indian soldiers will be there, they will not be given updated weapons or arms and ammunitions because Britishers were threatened that if they again set on an uprising against them, they will use all these arms and ammunitions against them. Next, recruitment. Guys, again there was a discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, and region. Introduction of caste and community is more in most regiment. So they started appointing the people on the basis of caste and community. Simple. Indian soldiers were kept away from the communication channels. They were not allowed to communicate with the normal people because if normal people starts communicating with these armed forces, especially the Indian soldiers, again Indian soldiers will set on an uprising. Yes, so these were some of the changes which Britishers were doing after the 1857 revolt. How they economically exploited India. First, export of raw materials and import of finished goods. So from India, there was an export of raw materials at a cheaper rate and there was an import of finished goods, machine made goods into India, which were sold at a much higher rate. Salary and allowances of the Secretary of State and members of the Indian Council, the civil servants, the military officers were burden on the country's resources. So all the type of salary or allowances which are given to the Secretary of the State, the members of the Indian Council, the civil servants, the military officers, everything was given from India's resources. Indigo peasants of Bihar revolted in 1866 and 1868. Now, why? If you guys remember, the indigo plantations were not allowed to grow, to cultivate any other crop other than indigo. And if they are doing so, they were severely punished. Their cattle were taken away from them. Now they were enraged. So between 1866 and 1868, these peasants revolted against the Britishers in Bihar provinces. Rural artisans industry collapsed. Why? The handicraft industry, why the cottage industry in India, it started collapsing. Why? Look at the first point. Export of raw material, import of foreign goods. And as the foreign goods started increasing in India, the people, in fact, the Britishers started discouraging Indian made goods because foreign goods were much more cheaper as compared to Indian made goods. Because of which the Indian industry started collapsing. People became poor. Britishers invested the surplus, which is something which is more in more quantity. British invested the surplus amount in infrastructure development. So the surplus amount which they earned through all these activities, they started using this money in development of infrastructure in India, like roads, communication, railway lines, and all these things. So, guys, if we conclude this topic of the War of 1857, what do we learn from this? Guys, 1857 revolt was a failure. Do you know why? First of all, India did not got independence in 1857, but there were some positive outcomes of this revolt, like the end of the East India Company rule in India. But do you know the reason why the War of 1857 was a failure? You will be of the view that, sir, everywhere in India, we revolted against the Britishers. So why it was a failure? First thing, we were not united. Revolt was happening in India. It was going on in India in different parts of India, but the people were not united. It became easy for the Britishers to suppress all these revolts in different places of India. Secondly, we were lacking in arms and ammunitions. I hope you guys are understanding. They were very good with arms and ammunition. They were more powerful. So there were many reasons, guys, why the War of 1857 was a failure. But guys, let me tell you, Indians took a very positive uh, outcome out of this War of 1857. First of all, we realized that why unity is important. And if we are united, we can do anything. We can overthrow the Britishers from India. And that is what we realized, which gave rise to the sense of nationalism in India. And it gave rise to the war further after 1857. So, guys, how the story continued after the war of 1857, and the things are going to be very, very interesting in the next coming sessions, guys. All right. So make sure that you guys are attending my coming sessions as well, because guys, the war of 1857 is ended. It is a failure. It was a failure, but we took a very positive outcome out of this. And what was a positive outcome? How the rise of nationalism started from here, and how we fought against the Britishers, and how we ended their rule in India in 1850, in 1947. That is what we are going to deal in the coming sessions. So very many interesting stories are on its way. So make sure that you guys are attending all those sessions. Alright guys, this is what we saw guys in today's session about the immediate cause. Then this is what the timeline we discussed. So make sure that you guys are writing it down, noting it down. This is very important. Okay. All right, guys. Now this is a time for the homework question. Make sure that you guys are giving me the answer in the comment section. Okay, so there are two simple questions coming for you. The very first question: ratio of Europeans to Indian troops was 1:2 in Bengal Army. So the above statement is true or false. Second one: Indigo peasants of Bihar revolted in dash. Option A between 1860 and 62. Option B between 1862 and 64. Option C between 1864 and 66. Or is it option D 1866 and 68? So these are two simple questions as a homework. Make sure that you guys are giving me the answer in the comment section. So thank you so much guys for attending my lecture. I hope you had a great time. Next time we will be continuing with our further story. What happened after the war of 1857. So thank you so much guys for attending my session. I hope you had a great time. Take care of yourself. Bye bye. Take care.